Every civilization has its own relationship with time, its own internal clock. But America's, it's something else. It might be one of the most powerful and maybe one of the strangest in all of history. We're talking about a relentless, almost obsessive focus on the future.
It's a feeling a lot of us can relate to, right? That constant push for what's next, that sense that you're always living in tomorrow instead of today. So where does that actually come from? Is this just a modern thing, or is it something way deeper, coded into the very identity of the nation? That's exactly what we're going to dig into.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, there's a key idea we need to talk about: temporal focus. Think of it like a civilization's default setting for time. It's the lens through which it sees everything. Some cultures are built on honoring the past. Others are all about living in the moment. And then you have cultures like America that are just squarely, intensely focused on what's coming next. And this focus, it shapes absolutely everything, from what we value to what we're afraid of.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at America's strange clock. Then, we'll unpack why we're always chasing tomorrow. After that, we'll zoom out and see how a world of other clocks works. We'll weigh the price of progress. And finally, we'll ask a big question about balance.
Okay, first up, America's strange clock. What is it that makes the way this nation sees time so different? Well, it really comes down to a few core ideas that have defined its forward-looking mindset pretty much from the beginning.
So it really boils down to three big pillars that all work together. First, there's this innovation mindset. We're obsessed with what's new, what's next, especially in technology and science. That's backed up by a super powerful progress narrative. This core belief that history is just one long straight line always moving up and getting better. And finally, there's this kind of restless view of the past. It's not something to be worshipped. It's something to be constantly reinterpreted or even overcome.
Now, when you're always looking ahead like this, it creates a really powerful psychological dynamic. And it's not just one thing. It's really a double-edged sword. It creates incredible hope, but also a ton of fear.
Now, you can really see this as two sides of the very same coin. On one side, you've got the dream. This is that incredible optimism that drives everything from landing on the moon to creating medical breakthroughs. The future is this amazing project we get to build. But then, there's the other side, the fear. That exact same forward-looking lens makes us hyper-aware of all the things that could go wrong. Climate change, jobs being automated, you name it. It's hope and anxiety both powered by the exact same engine.
So, to really get a handle on just how unusual America's clock is, we have to look outside its borders. Because it turns out, this obsession with the future, it's definitely not the norm throughout history.
Just look at the contrast here. It's pretty stark. Ancient Egypt, all about the past and eternity. Their goal was stability, order, which is why they built monuments to last forever. Mesoamerican cultures, they saw time as a big circle, a cycle. That brought a sense of meaning and predictability. Imperial China was all about balance and harmony, respecting tradition to keep things going. And then there's America, focused on progress and novelty, which leads to constant, rapid change. You can see it's a real outlier. And the thing is, each of these worldviews totally served the needs of that specific civilization.
Okay, so you might be thinking, is there any historical comparison? Well, the closest you'll probably get is ancient Greece and Rome. They were also super ambitious. They believed in progress. They wanted to leave a legacy. But here's the key difference. America has this deep-seated value for novelty, the new just for the sake of being new. And that's what makes the culture even more restless, even faster.
So this all leads to a really critical question. What are the actual consequences of being so focused on the future? It creates some absolutely incredible strengths, but it also comes with some pretty significant weaknesses.
All right, let's start with the good stuff, the strengths. What do you get when you're always looking over the horizon? Well, the benefits are huge.
And honestly, the upsides are pretty undeniable. For one, this kind of thinking just unlocks incredible innovation in medicine, tech, you name it. It fuels this really powerful optimism, this belief that tomorrow can and will be better. It also makes the culture super adaptable, right? Able to change on a dime. And it's a huge driver of social progress. Think about the civil rights movement. That was all built on the idea that a more just future was possible.
But, of course, there's a flip side. That same engine that drives all that progress, it can also cause some serious problems.
And what's so fascinating is that these weaknesses are the direct shadow of the strengths. That constant push forward, it can lead to a really shallow collective memory, where we forget or just oversimplify the lessons of the past. That endless chase for what's next leads to widespread anxiety and burnout. I think we can all feel that sometimes. And it creates this sense of short-termism, where we might sacrifice long-term health for a quick win right now.
Ultimately, it can make the present feel kind of fleeting, almost meaningless, just a stepping stone to a future that never really gets here.
So all of this brings us to the big final question. Is this American way of seeing time incredibly powerful, but maybe, just maybe, incomplete?
I mean, what if we tried to listen to the wisdom from a completely different clock? Someone from a Mesoamerican culture might look at our straight line of progress and offer a really simple but profound warning. If you forget that time moves in cycles, you are absolutely doomed to repeat the same mistakes over and over again.
So the final verdict here isn't that being focused on the future is bad. Not at all. It's that it might be dangerously incomplete. When you look back at history, the most resilient, the wisest civilizations, they were the ones that found a balance. They knew how to honor their past, how to live fully in the present, and how to build for the future. They had all three.
And so that leaves us with one final big question to think about. Is America's relentless drive toward tomorrow its greatest asset, the very thing that makes it so dynamic? Or is it a symptom of a deeper imbalance, a civilization whose clock is ticking so fast that it's in danger of losing both its memory and its meaning?